Hey guys, welcome back to Playing Footy. Today, or this morning, I wanted to do a video on the Ken Hinkley and James Sicily / Jack Ginnivan saga, which basically occurred after the game as the two teams were walking off the field to pay tribute to Luke Bruce. I find it really interesting because there was more fascination with this situation than there was in the actual game. And yes, Port Adelaide won by 3 points and basically made Jack Ginnivan eat his own words. And Ken Hinkley came up to him as the two teams were walking, basically to set up the guard for Bruce, and he gestured an aeroplane sort of hand gesture, and a couple of good mouth readers were basically saying, or lip readers I should say, were saying that he was insinuating, oh, you're not flying, basically saying you're not going to go to the Sydney to verse the Swans, which Jack Ginnivan did allude to, see you in 14 days with his Instagram post on Brodie Grundy's post there. So it was an interesting scenario because here you've got a Jack Ginnivan who's 20-something years old. He's won a premiership. He is an antagonist. He is a bit of a showman as well. And for Ken Hinkley to basically, I don't know how old Ken is, he's 60-something, to go up to him and basically, and the whole team, the whole Hawthorn team, and start, sparring off. Luke Hodge was definitely against it. He didn't condone it, and so did Jordan Lewis. He didn't condone it either. But I just find it interesting that basically, even though Port won the game, Ken Hinkley has to go and apologise afterwards. And now, after every bit of scrutiny and pressure that's been mounted on Ken Hinkley, he is the one now that has got even more pressure heading into the Sydney Swans game next week, which really it's a do or die situation for Port Adelaide, obviously. And as a coach that's 60-something, for him to put his own foot in it and basically let a 20-something-year-old basically beat him in terms of psychologically, goes to show how strong this coach is for Port Adelaide. And Ken Hinkley, I don't see much of him anymore. And I honestly think if Port, at the end of the season, if they do lose to Sydney and they do change their sort of, their direction with the coach, then I think they've got every right to do that. I mean, Ken's been there for something like 12 years, and he hasn't really won them anything. And so he would leave empty-handed at the club. He has tried to build that club up and have them back on the map as a good, reputable club and a bit of a destination club, if you can call it that, even though their membership numbers and their sort of results in the past couple of years and since he took over haven't been the best. Yes, a couple of semi-finals are won, and then no prelims have been won under him. So there's a lot of question marks over him. But then let's turn our attention to James Sicily, who gave it back to Ken Hinkley. And so he basically was saying, oh, you smart ass, some lip readers were saying, and basically a couple of expletives in there, which I won't repeat on this YouTube video. But it just goes to show that the Hawks obviously don't respect Ken Hinkley, and they probably never will again. And added to that, Sam Mitchell post-game, when he was asked about it, basically said no, he has not talked to Ken Hinkley, and he will not talk to Ken Hinkley. And there's definitely a lot of tension there on the matter. Now, fighting fire with fire is never going to end well, no matter who the perpetrator is and whoever the victim is. But Ken Hinkley in that situation, in my opinion, should have just walked off. By engaging in the antagonistic tactics of Jack Ginnivan, he's added now more pressure into his preliminary final with the Sydney Swans. And they don't need that going into any preparation. They're still going to be underdone to a degree with some of their stars, with clouded, question marks, Butters and Horne-Francis. They don't need any more pressure. And so he's basically bringing them down with him, Ken Hinkley. And I think that's, as a coach, as a senior coach, as a coach of 60-something years old, he's behaved like an absolute child. And he let Jack Ginnivan win the war. Hawthorn last night didn't win the battle, but they won the war, psychological war, and Jack Ginnivan started it, and Ken Hinkley couldn't resist. He couldn't resist, and now he's copping it big time. He's probably going to have to release a club statement saying, apologising to all the fans. He had to after the game. The interviews, he was hounded by it. Everyone was looking at it. Everyone could see there was cameras all around, and he chose the worst time to even think of doing that. Now, no time's really good to do that, but he chose Luke Bruce 300th game send-off So I think for him psychologically, you can tell this man is under pressure. He knows his end is near, and for him to slip up like that just goes to show that his back is well and truly against the wall. It's just how long he can keep his head above the water. And last night clearly showed to me that this man cannot control his emotions. And emotions, the first one to show emotions in a game of football, loses. And even though Ken Hinkley won that game, or the Port Adelaide won that game, Ken made all about himself after the game, directing his anger towards one player and one player only, Jack Ginnivan, and inadvertently the whole Hawthorn team, with James Sicily then trying to give it back to him. So it just turned into an ugly, ugly situation. And Ken Hinkley obviously did say at the post-match interview that he would have his time again, not have done that. Clearly, I mean, why would you want to be seen any lesser than? You just smile at the opposition, say, we got you, and that's it. You don't have to say anything. You just do, you say by doing. And they did, but then Ken ruined it for everyone. Anyway, that's me. What are your thoughts? Comment down below, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.